Today on Reese Dixon, we are making these little fancy ladies to go on our tree. Hey everybody, it's Teresa with ReeseDixon.com, and I'm back with another ornament for our vintage-inspired Home for the Holidays tree. I did a ton of research for this tree, as I mention in every one of these tutorials, and I really wanted to find out what kind of ornaments people would use then and how they would decorate and what kind of crafts they were doing. And one thing I found a lot of were these little wooden dolls, all kinds of little shapes and makeups and all kinds of different versions. But there were caroler dolls and there were family dolls and there were all kinds, all made out of this little wooden shape that you can get at any craft store. It's one of those crafts that used to be really big and has now kind of gone out of style, but the products are all still there if you just look for them in your craft store. So I initially thought that it would be so fun to have a little like Betty Draper kind of look on the tree, and then I kind of wanted to winter her up a little bit with her little puffy sleeve coat here. I think she turned out so great. So let me turn the camera around and show you how to make it step by step. Here I've laid out all the pieces that you'll need for our fancy lady ornament. This is just a wooden doll figure that you can find in the raw wood section of just about any craft store. They usually come in packs, and I just went ahead and painted, some very rudimentary hair on here, and then boop boop, 2 dots for eyes and a little pink smile. So I mean, we're talking very, very simple techniques. You do not have to be a painter. So then I also have some ribbon that's going to be her belt, a couple of pom-poms, a couple of pieces of pipe cleaner, some felt. I've pre-cut it, but I'll explain how I got these sizes. And then this is doll hair. So from here, it's pretty much just gluing it all together. So let's talk about her clothes. The first thing I'm going to start with is her skirt. So what I did is I just took, I think in fact it was actually this jar of wipes that I keep by my desk to clean up my messes. I traced that and then traced her body in the middle and then cut a slit. So we're not done cutting yet, but I wanted you to just see that part. I'm going to take my glue gun and just put a little tiny dab right on her waistline to give me something to start with. And then before I do any more gluing, I'm going to bring it around to the back, and you see how there's so much extra because we're not going to use the entire circle shape, or it would just be a disc. We want that to kind of fall. So I'm going to kind of match that up and then trim off the extra. And I'm not going to get too precise here. I'm just going to make sure that it's able to overlap, and then I'm going to kind of trim down that little point right there. But this will have a belt on top of it, so you really don't need to get too precise. I mean, look at, I've got ragged edges everywhere. So then with my glue gun, I'm going to add a little bit more all the way down the back so that I can kind of seal that skirt in place. On that side, I'm going to add just a little bit more. Like so. And she's got her skirt. Now, you can just leave it like this if you want. I like to add a tiny little touch of glue on each side just to kind of get that skirt to stay exactly where I want it. And then it will kind of look like a pretty circle skirt instead of just, sticking out at odd angles. You can kind of arrange the folds the way you want them to. There you go, her skirt's done. So now for the top, what I started here was just a rectangle of white felt, and I held it up against her and trimmed as necessary. So you can see how I made that arc because it's got to go around that larger portion of her waist. And that was just done through trial and error. I just held the rectangle up to her and just kept trimming and trimming until I got it the place that I wanted. And you can see I actually might have gotten a little bit too short, but the felt stretches really nicely. So I'm going to start again with just the tiniest little line here just to keep it in place. You don't want to use too much glue because you want that to be able to stretch where you need it. And then this time the seam's going to go down the front like shirts tend to do. So I'm going to add some glue right down her front and stretch that to meet. There we go. Stretch that side too to meet. And I kind of like how it gives it a little collar there, so I'm kind of going to leave that part open, but just kind of fuss and finesse and, you know, get it to where I want it, like so. Okay, now I'm going to do the belt next because that's easier to do when there aren't arms in the way. So again, just tiny little glue. You want to make sure you try and work clean. I'm going to save that extra because that's going to also be the ornament hanger I'll need in a minute. But first, I'm just going to tie a little bow here. Now she needs arms and she needs shoulders, and that's where the pipe cleaners and these puff balls will be. These will be her puff sleeves. So first we're going to give her some arms. So I'm just going to add a little more hot glue right there. And more on this side. Remember to watch your fingers. I've got those legendary calluses that make it so I can dive right in. Now I made her arms a little bit long. I wanted to be able to see what they would look like on the body before I cut them too short. So now that they're in place, I'm going to trim them just a little bit to where she doesn't look like she's got crazy arms. And then 2 more dots of glue to make her puff sleeves. And this also has the benefit of hiding her pipe cleaner shoulders. Get that big squeeze. There we go. Oh, she's looking cute. Okay, now this is the part that I found to be the trickiest, was adding her hair. In part because the doll's hair can be a little bit challenging to rein in, and also because it's really easy to burn yourself in this part. So what I did was I started on one side and I just kind of added a whole bunch of glue, just every which way, and then grab like a chunk of curl and start stretching that out and into the glue, like so. And I'm actually going to trim it because it's easiest to keep straight when you don't try and work with these huge chunks at a time. This is also why I painted her hair underneath, even though I was going to put doll hair on top, because you don't want to have the wood color poking through. You just want to be able to use the doll hair as a nice little finishing touch, rather than relying on it to, you know, cover up the wood. I've gathered up one last chunk, and I'm actually, before I put it on, I'm going to try to keep it as neatly contained as possible, and I'm going to put some glue in the center to kind of hold all these pieces together, because this is going to be a little bit of a bun. She's going to have a fancy updo. once I get those all stuck, then I'm going to put a little bit more glue right here on the top of her head. Maybe a lot of bit more glue. I'm going to stick her bun right there. Now she's got a little, she's got a little beehive. Okay, I'm going to stick that down very carefully. There we go. Okay, now all that's left is the ornament, hanger, I should say. Just kind of make myself a little loop here and glue that right to her back. I'm gonna tuck it there right underneath her belt, kind of hide any raw edges. And then I can also take this opportunity to kind of glue her bow straight. Now, because it's attached so far down at her waist, she'd kind of be hanging like this. So I'm gonna add a little bit more glue here at the back of her neck and run that up higher so that she hangs upright, like so. And there's our fancy lady, all ready to go to her Christmas party. I just think she's so cute and elegant, and I just love her full skirt and how she brings such a little pop of class to this tree. It was so fun to make her, and I hope that you'll give it a try too. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment down below and I'll help you out. And don't forget to subscribe so you can see this little lady on the finished tree, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.